Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm bringing you guys a reading vlog for my experience reading Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, for those of you who don't know, I recently started my very own book club on an app called Fable. It's called A World of Words and it's essentially a book club that is open to anyone, and I'm aiming to try and mix up the genres of the book picks every month. That way I'm hoping that there will be something for everyone, and for the month of June we decided to read Jurassic Park. I'm so excited for this. This is one of my all-time favourite films and I've heard nothing but amazing things about the book itself. Now, I do want to warn you moving forwards that this vlog is going to be spoiler filled. It's going to contain all of my thoughts whilst reading this book, and I obviously can't do that without spoiling what is in there. So if you haven't read this book but are planning on doing so, please come back once you have read it so that you can hear my thoughts on it, and it may be worth joining the book club as well so that you can participate in future read-alongs. And Fable is actually fantastic because whilst you're reading you can talk about the different chapters that you've read in certain chat rooms that don't spoil it for anyone else. The only reason someone would read it is if they've just read the chapter that you're referring to. So all in all, it's a great experience. And in this vlog in particular, I'm of course going to be tackling this book and updating you guys every 100 pages or so to share my thoughts with you and to hopefully have a good time. With all that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into the video. As I said, I can't wait to read this one and I hope that I really do end up loving it. I am very happy to say that I have now started Jurassic Park and I've actually made it up to page 97, which is a very fitting chapter because, guys, look where I've landed. I have made it to Jurassic Park. It's taken almost 100 pages, but we've made it. And honestly, I'm just so excited to finally be at the park and see what our characters get up to. And of course, to meet all the dinosaurs. Now, I don't really have too many things to say in this first update. The book actually starts off pretty dramatically with some new species of lizards being discovered in, I believe it's South America. A little girl has been attacked on a beach whilst they're on holiday, and nobody thinks that it's that serious. As I said, people believe that she was attacked by a species of lizard, and that is that. However, we do actually get a really harrowing scene where we see a baby be attacked and killed by these lizards. And of course, we as the reader, having, grown up with Jurassic Park, know that these lizards are in fact dinosaurs. Of course, our characters are oblivious to that, and it is interesting to see how they deal with it. Some people want to sweep it under the rug, some people want to investigate it, and ultimately someone does think that this should be reported, and so I believe they take an X-ray of this animal, and it takes quite a while, but they do end up contacting Alan Grant, who is a paleontologist. I am jumping ahead of myself a little bit here, but yeah, we all know Dr. Alan Grant. He is one of the main characters in the film and of course the book, and as I said, he is a paleontologist. He studies dinosaurs for a living and is currently in the middle of a very big excavation of dinosaur bones. Of course, when we meet Grant, we also meet Ellie, who is his partner in paleontology, and we know that they are working on this dig and it's funded by Hammond. Now, Hammond is the creator of Jurassic Park. He has had an interest in dinosaurs for years, and we of course know that he has put money towards creating Jurassic Park. However, Grant and Ellie don't know this. All they know is that he is the person who is allowing them to continue doing what they love. And so when he rocks up and essentially tells them that they need to come to see his new island, they don't really have an excuse not to. Now, of course, like I said, that's pretty much where we're at. I will say the beginning of this book was very confusing. There's a lot of talk about DNA, a lot of scientific talk that honestly went over my head, but I feel like as soon as you get past that bit, you will be flying through this and you will just be sucked into the book. I feel like it obviously adds to the story because it is very interesting and it gives you an insight into what is actually going on and the kind of behind the scenes to all of this as well. But yeah, in terms of the actual plot, nothing much has happened yet. It's all been set up. So like I said, now that we have made it to the park, I feel like the pacing is just going to increase. Saying that though, I am already so interested in this. I can't wait to see, as I said, what happens and if it's any different to the film. I grew up with the film, absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what the book is like because I've just heard so many amazing things. I'm really sorry that this first clip doesn't have too much of my thoughts. I read it pretty quickly and like I said, nothing much has stuck with me as of yet. But now that we're into the park, I'm sure that's all gonna change. I am gonna sit down tonight and try and read a bit more. So I will update you guys again once I have more thoughts, and hopefully I can read a good chunk of this one before then as well. Please excuse the state of me, guys. We are currently experiencing a heat wave and honestly it is pretty intense. I've been at work all day. I have just come back from a walk with Tom. We didn't take Kiwi out today because of how hot it was, but I did still want to get my steps in because I have also cancelled my gym class tonight because yeah, it's like 25 degrees and I'm just not doing that to myself today. So I do look a bit disheveled. Please do excuse that, as I said, but I wanted to let you guys know that I have now made it up to page 166 of Jurassic Park, and the next chapter that I'm going to be reading is one that I'm very excited for because it's Big Rex, which is of course our introduction to the T-Rex. I can't wait for this, guys. I am so excited to just see more of the park and more of the animals. The T-Rex is of course one of the most feared creatures and is definitely the star of the show for this park. So yeah, I am definitely excited to see how it's introduced and also what is going on with it. So yeah, very, very excited for that. Of course, with the next step being us meeting the T-Rex, we have actually made it to Jurassic Park. We have quite a few different characters now, and I'm looking at my phone because I did make some notes as I was reading. We have Dr. Henry Wu, who is the doctor responsible for this DNA cloning. We have Grant and Ellie, who are the paleontologists. We have Tim and Lex, who are Dr. Hammond's grandkids, and we have Malcolm. I'm pretty sure that I've left someone out actually. Can't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but there's definitely someone else, and the name's just escaping me right now. But I was getting into this, and throughout it I was like, where are the kids? Like in the film, the kids are a pretty big part of it because Grant and Ellie and a few other characters actually travel to Isla Nublar and kind of get set up, and it's not until a bit later on that Dr. Hammond introduces his grandkids to them because they come on a helicopter separate to the one that brought the first lot of people in. Oh my gosh, I can't remember who it was, but there's also another character who is asked to kind of look after the kids and he's not happy about it. He basically thinks his role is being diminished to the role of a babysitter, and he was very against bringing the kids to the island because they hadn't really tested anything out yet, but Hammond said it would be fine. But as we know, that's not going to be the case. So the guy's name is Ed. There we go. So Ed is not happy that he's going to be babysitting, but that is his role moving forward apparently. Now I do have some pages that are dog-eared, which you guys are going to hate me for, but this is a secondhand copy that I bought. And in Jurassic Park itself, we have different channels for the different sections of the park. So hopefully you can see that, but I will read them out to you now anyway. It doesn't say what channel 1 is, but I believe that may just be the kind of reception area. We then have channel 2, which I'm going to struggle to pronounce, but I'll try my best. It is Hypsilophodont Highlands. Channel 3 is Triceratops Territory. Channel 4 is Sauropod Swamp. Channel 5 is Carnival Country. Channel 6 is Stegosaurus South. Channel 7 is Velociraptor Valley, and Channel 8 is Pterosaur Peak. I am really sorry if I'm saying those incorrectly, but I really liked the fun little names. I feel like the author would have had a really good time just sitting down and coming up with clever and witty names to call the different sections. And I wanted to share those with you because, yeah, I just thought it would be a bit of fun. I have also dog-eared another page, and I can't actually remember why. I think it's because Dr. Wu is talking about these dinosaurs as if they're not real, because they're obviously creatures that were extinct and have been brought back. He doesn't see them as animals, he sees them as a kind of DNA project, and when the project fails, he sees that as room for improvement, and so he wants to go on creating dinosaurs until he gets like the perfect dinosaur, which isn't threatening in any way. So at the minute, Dr. Wu is concerned that the dinosaurs are too real, which is exactly what Hammond wants, but by being too real, they are too fast, and people might not get a look at them properly if they visit the park, and they might be disappointed. They are also eating a lot, and because of that they are peeing and pooing everywhere, and it's a lot to maintain. But what I thought was really interesting is that they do have a log of all the different dinosaurs that they have and how many are there, and apparently every 15 minutes the system is meant to update, letting you know where the dinosaur is and obviously how many there are, so that they can make sure that none have escaped. However, with the beginning of this book, when we saw the lizards kind of come out of nowhere, it's clear that some dinosaurs have escaped and they just aren't aware of it, or they are aware of it but they are covering it up. So here's a look at the table for you. You've probably seen it, but I will show you guys nonetheless. They have quite a few different dinosaurs. I believe they said 15 different species of dinosaurs. But because Dr. Wu has so many of them now, he honestly is losing count, which, yeah, is a crazy problem to have when you're trying to clone dinosaurs. Now, we have been introduced to a few different dinosaurs in here. We have I think it was the Bronchosaurus that we are first introduced to, which is the one with the long neck. I really love the imagery in this scene because as the helicopter is coming down, they believe that it's a tree, and then all of a sudden the head moves and Grant is like, oh my god, that's a dinosaur. And I thought that was perfectly done. I thought it was so good. The disbelief that he had was just so humorous, but also it was done in a way that made you feel as though something incredible was happening. And their excitement as well was really nice to see. We have some people in here who aren't keen on the fact that these dinosaurs are being cloned, and so to see paleontologists get so excited about it is just such a fun part of this book. Now, the dinosaurs that I'm most interested in at the minute are the raptors. Now, they're a big part of all the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films, and it's really interesting in this one because they do have quite a few raptors in the parks. However, they have kept them separate to the other dinosaurs. Now, I'm not sure if there's a reason behind that. I'm not sure if it's because they're dangerous. What we do find in this book is that they have a pack mentality where they hunt in packs and essentially bring down their target together, and we see that when they do go after one of our main characters, they are hiding and the character doesn't realize it, but luckily there's like, you know, a fence in between them, and when he's focusing on one dinosaur, the others have crept around him and have essentially planned an ambush, and the guy said it happened so quickly that he didn't even know what was going on. So I feel like if that was another dinosaur or a person, they would not last next to a raptor. So I feel like there may be more to that. Dr. Wu did seem pretty on edge when talking about the raptors, but he kind of says that, oh, you know, it's going to be okay, don't worry about it, we'll just figure something out. But I feel like from the get-go, something is definitely up with them. The next point I have on my phone is actually that the scientists are definitely withholding some information from us for now. Of course, we don't expect them to reveal everything, but yeah, even with the dinosaurs being loose at the beginning of this book, I feel like they should have owned up to it, because how on earth do you explain that a new species of lizards very close to where DNA cloning is being run have magically appeared and have started to harm people and babies in particular? I feel like they definitely should have owned up to it, or at least done something to kind of calm people down. A very interesting fact in this actually, and one I didn't really think about, is that they have programmed all the dinosaurs to be female so that they obviously can't mate and create offspring, and they also have installed different, I don't want to say mechanisms, but different triggers so that if they leave the island they can't survive more than a day or something like that, because they have been born and bred to live in a specific environment, which obviously isn't going to be the same across the world. And so with those lizards or dinosaurs escaping, you would have thought that they would have died pretty quickly. However, they seem to be thriving. So again, there may be something that we don't really know about yet, and the scientists don't want to share with us. So again, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for any hint to that. But honestly, really enjoying it so far. I don't want to put the book down. I have struggled because over the last few days I've wanted to read, but I really wanted to film this update for you guys because I didn't want to leave it too long and then not remember what I wanted to say. So that means that tonight I can sit down and read a bit more of this book. I am very excited to do so. As I said, we are going to be meeting Big Rex. Honestly, love that name. And yeah, I'm just very excited. I feel like I've said that a lot, but I'm just so happy to be really enjoying this book. I haven't felt like this in a long time with a book. I feel like I've been in a very weird reading slump, and so the fact that I actively want to pick up the book and read it is obviously a great thing. So that is exactly what I'm going to do tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to update you guys later on tonight or tomorrow. Saying that though, I feel like I am going to go paddleboarding tomorrow because it's meant to be the hottest day, which yeah, I'm dreading, I'm not gonna lie. So my plan is to go straight from work to the lake, and then I'm gonna go out, paddle, and hopefully just have a really nice relaxing time. Adriana is meant to join me, but I think she's got like a charity event that she's doing first with work. And then we're gonna head off for a couple of hours and yeah, just go paddle boarding essentially. So I'm not sure if I'll update you guys before then, but either way, I will include some clips of that if we do go. And I hope you guys enjoy coming along with us for what will hopefully be a very lovely evening.
Hands are trembling right now, right now. Deep blue water sea, afraid of jumping in right now, right now. 한 발을 내밀었어, 걱정이 많이 있어. It's a bit of love, man. It's a little tough, yeah. 담배를 물고 있어. 생각이 너무 깊어. Why? It's looking too deep. It's a little rough, yeah. Overthinking if I belong, but I'm where
I feel like it's been quite a long time since I've updated you guys in this vlog, so I do apologise, even though it's just going to be like 2 seconds for you. We are still in the middle of a heat wave, which is why I look very oily today, but it is almost 8 o'clock at night now, which is why I've put my little cardigan on. It's getting a little bit cooler, so I am about to take Kiwi out for a walk. But I thought before I do that, I actually really do need to sit down and share my thoughts with you guys on the next section that I've read. Another little side note, I do apologise if you can hear any cars outside. The windows are open because it's hot, so yeah, apologies for any background noise, but I cannot have the windows closed right now because this house just gets extremely hot. Anyway, I have now made it up to page 313, which means that I've made it to the chapter called Search, and I'm definitely over halfway now, which is great. But wow, I feel like so much has gone on since I last updated you. I can't quite remember where I was at. I feel like I was talking about Big Rex and how we were just about to meet the Tyrannosaurus. That has of course happened. We didn't really see too much of him at first glance. He did kill a goat and that was about it. But of course, things are going to get worse as we go along, and I will go into that in a minute. But moving on from that, Dr. Grant actually found the remnant of some dinosaur eggs, and he is under the impression that the dinosaurs are breeding. Now, there should be 238 dinosaurs in the park. That is how many dinosaurs were created. However, after Dr. Grant's discovery, he asks the IT technicians to run the numbers again, and it turns out that there are almost 300 dinosaurs in the park. Nobody knows how this has happened because the dinosaurs are all engineered to be female. However, Grant has told them to look at frog DNA because apparently something related to that can help them understand why the dinosaurs may be breeding and also how. Now, there are of course way more dinosaurs than we first thought, and that doesn't even account for the ones that have left the island. So at the beginning of the novel we were dealing with some lizards that were on the beaches. They had attacked a few people, killed a few babies, and everyone just thought that they were a new species of lizard or an older species of lizard that are less common. However, we of course know that those were the raptors, and I really like that we found out how they got off the island. So essentially what they were doing was jumping onto the supply boats that were coming to the island, and obviously once they left they took the raptors with them, and that's how they made it to the mainland. So I actually thought that was pretty genius and hilarious. The raptors are meant to be the most intelligent dinosaurs, and it obviously shows because they've managed to sneak off without anyone realizing. And I guess because of the rise in population of the dinosaurs, no one thought to check. The next thing, of course, is Nedry. Now, Nedry is being paid to steal some of the embryos of the dinosaurs that have been created in Jurassic Park, and he has finally put his plan into action. He essentially causes a power cut to unlock all the doors and bypass every security system so that it doesn't look suspicious for him, and he does manage to get into the fertilization room and steal some embryos. The problem with this, though, is that he didn't realise that by shutting down the power, he called all of the defense systems in the park to shut down. That meant that the electric fences weren't working, it meant that the locks on the doors were open, and unsurprisingly, the dinosaurs have gotten out. Now, the reason behind what he's doing is actually pretty interesting, and that's because he started working on Isla Nublar at the beginning of the project and was working for Hammond and was doing what he wanted. However, Hammond started asking him to do more things that he wasn't contracted to do, he wasn't happy with it, and he refused. However, Hammond then started to blackmail him, which of course made their relationship sour. Now, a cash offer to steal some embryos honestly probably feels like a great lifeline and escape for him. So in a sense, I can understand why he would do this. However, of course, it doesn't go well for him. He tries to escape with the embryos and he is very brutally killed by a pack of dinosaurs. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head. I feel really bad, but they're the ones that spit venom. And so that's exactly what they do. They spit venom into his eyes and essentially blind him and then tear out his intestines. So poor Nedry is no longer with us. He has met a very grisly fate and has left everyone else in the park in danger by doing what he did. Now, speaking of them being in danger, this is where the T-Rex makes another appearance. We know there are two. There is a big one and a small one, and the big one here actually stumbles upon the party as they are on their Jeep tour. We have two Jeeps, one with Dr. Grant and Malcolm, and I believe someone else, but I can't remember off the top of my head, and then the second one with Ed and the kids, who are Lex and Tim. The Tyrannosaurus comes out of nowhere and starts kind of attacking the cars, and this is when the adults decide to flee and leave the kids. Ed just completely abandons the kids, he runs away, and unfortunately for him is soon caught by the T-Rex. He again meets a grisly end, and there's nothing that anyone could have done to save him. Same goes for Malcolm, who ran away. However, he did survive, but he is not in a good place. I think his leg was either bitten or broken, and he is now in, I guess, the hospital ward, which is nothing really. So the characters are now trying to get in contact with the mainland to get Malcolm away in order to find a doctor for him and treat him. Meanwhile, the kids are in a Jeep by themselves, and Tim has night vision goggles, which I feel like is really cool in this book because obviously you can see things through his eyes through the goggles, and it just makes the reading experience all the more tense but also all the more enjoyable. And bless him, his car is absolutely smashed to pieces. It ends up in a tree at one point with Tim still in there, and miraculously him and his sister do survive. Now Grant, I can't actually remember how he kind of faced the T-Rex, but the T-Rex does decide to trash his car as well. However, again, he survives and he does manage to find the kids, and they of course stick together to try and go back to the base to tell people that one, the raptors are escaping on the boats, but two, of course, to get to safety. Now, for a lot of this section, we aren't really doing too much. It's a lot of, you know, Grant and the kids trying to move from one place to the next and the T-Rex kind of following them. Ellie is trying to treat Malcolm back at base. Dr. Wu and the technicians are trying to restore the power, and of course, nothing seems to be working. Moving on to an element of this that I am really enjoying though. I've just read a chapter on this, so it is pretty new and I feel like it's going to carry on for quite a while. But Grant has actually found a raft. I think Tim suggested that there may be a raft in one of the buildings that they'd passed, and of course there was. So Grant and the kids went on this raft, however the T-Rex has been following them, and oh my goodness guys, this was such an eerie scene to read because Grant and the kids are on the raft, they're going downriver, and they think they're safe because the T-Rex is on land. However, the T-Rex jumps in the river and starts coming after them. When the water's shallow, he can walk and keep up with them, and then as soon as it gets deeper, he kind of swims like a crocodile. It's literally described as a crocodile, and I just thought that was such great writing because of course crocs have been alive for millions of years. They are from the Jurassic period, and you can tell like they look like they should be dinosaurs, right? So just having that imagery in there with something that you can actually picture as well, and it just gives it context, in my opinion, I thought was so well done and so creepy, because imagine a crocodile coming after you, let alone a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Luckily for Grant and the kids though, this is when the mini Tyrannosaurus shows up and he starts eating big Big Rex's kill from earlier, and Big Rex is very territorial and decides to go back and claim his kill. And so Grant and the kids have managed to escape for now. Not sure how long they will be free of the T-Rex for, because he does seem to be a menace. But that is essentially where I'm up to. I feel like, again, it's information overload. I don't want to do a lot of small updates because I do tend to ramble, and that is what makes these vlogs so long. So I prefer to kind of talk about everything in chunks. Hopefully that works for you. I am not sure if I'm going to read any more tonight. I still have quite a ways to go, to be honest. I thought I could finish it this weekend, but I'm not too sure now. If the weather continues to be nice, I may go out on my paddleboard again. I will say we had a lovely evening out on the paddleboards. At first the lake was actually pretty rough, however it soon calmed down and we just lay there for a while as well. I think I put a clip in of that, but yeah, it was absolutely lovely. Had such a nice evening, and it just makes you appreciate everything that you have in a way, because I'm so lucky to live in such a beautiful place. And not that I take it for granted, but people come from all over to visit the lake, visit the mountains here, and the fact that it's on my doorstep, I just feel like I need to take advantage of that a little bit more. So going out for a night on the lake was lovely, and yeah, it was great that Jenna was there as well, because we were able to chat and just get things off our chest, and yeah, it was absolutely lovely. So like I said, if the weather continues to be lovely, we may end up doing that. For now though, I am going to stop talking because I feel like I have been talking for quite a while, and I'm aware that the traffic is quite bad at the minute, so I'm not sure how much you can hear, but I will say I'm really enjoying this one. I don't know if it's going to get faster paced. I feel like the pacing is quite good at the minute. Some parts are obviously more intense than others, and so they are faster paced, but I am interested to see how this continues on, because there are a few differences that I can remember from the film comparing it to this, and yeah, I just want to see how different it is and whether or not I enjoy this one more than the film. So yeah, we'll see. But for now, I'm going to take Kiwi for a walk, probably head off to bed, and I'll chat to you as soon as I've read some more of this book.
Form has been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing is...
I've done it, guys. I'm so happy to say that I have finally finished Jurassic Park. It has taken me quite a while to finish off this book, I'm not gonna lie, but I did have such an amazing time reading this one. I have also now watched the film, and I feel like that was a bit of a mistake because I wanted to film my wrap-up of this and review before watching it, because now I feel like I can't distinguish between what happened in the book and what happened in the film. So that wasn't a great move on my part, but I did watch it. Tom actually watched it with me, and guys, it was his first time watching Jurassic Park. He is a 27-year-old man, and he has never watched that film. He's aware of the impact of pop culture, he's aware of the references, but he's never actually sat down to watch it. So I'm extremely glad to have experienced it with him for the first time. Of course, I've watched it a few times, but it was really funny seeing his reactions to things, and yeah, we had a really lovely evening watching the film. I will say the ending is where the book and the film differ the most. Now, in the book, we have lost a lot of characters already, but we also lose Dr. Hammond. I can't remember remember if he's checking the power or something in his lodgings, but he ventures out even though people are telling him it's not safe. And whilst he's out, he hears the T-Rex and he jumps, it scares him, and he falls down and really badly hurts his leg. Now, whilst he's there, he soon comes to realise that it's not the T-Rex, but rather the kids in the control centre, and they've been playing the noise of the T-Rex. And so he is stuck there by himself. He's got a broken leg, he can't put any weight on it, and so he thinks that people are going to find him. However, of course, that doesn't happen. And so he decides to try and make his way back up. However, along the way, he meets some dinosaurs who are the foragers. I honestly can't remember the name of them off the top of my head. I should have made a note about this, but for some reason I didn't make a note on anything in this last part of the book, and so yeah, I definitely will be confused. Right, I've gotten to the part where they are. I just need to find which dinosaurs they are. It's the compies. Okay, I found it. And it says here, the compies didn't look dangerous. They were about as big as chickens and they moved up and down with little nervous jerks like chickens. But he knew they were poisonous. Their bites had a slow-acting poison that they used to kill crippled animals. Crippled animals, he thought, frowning. And then, yeah, unfortunately, one compy manages to bite him. He, of course, feels the effect of the poison, and the rest of them soon attack. And yeah, Hammond felt only a slight pain, very slight, as the compy bent to chew his neck. That imagery is vile, but so effective. So yeah, the creator of Jurassic Park has died in the book, which honestly I wasn't expecting. And I believe that Malcolm also dies. So he's played by Jeff Goldblum in the film. And of course, in the film, he is attacked by the T-Rex. The toilet building kind of falls on him, but his injuries aren't that severe and he does make it out alive. However, in the book, he is bitten. He is bleeding really badly. He's in and out of consciousness. Ellie and the others are trying to do everything that they can to save him. However, again, by the end of the book, unfortunately, it's not enough, and he does pass away. So we've lost another two really important members of the team. I will say, again, there is a really cool part in here where we are following the raptors. They are trying to keep the raptors out of the control room, and so Ellie acts as bait. She goes out and everyone thinks that they've got them sussed. However, it turns out that the raptors are the ones that are playing with them, and Ellie actually almost dies whilst doing this because the raptors have kind of surrounded her without her knowing, and they've managed to kind of follow her and spot her weaknesses and also figure out the best way to get inside the building. And that is when they reveal that they can jump extremely high, and they do manage to do just that. And so yeah, she barely escapes with her life. The main thing that I was surprised about in here actually as well is that Grant, Ellie and Gennaro actually find the raptor's nest. Now, they knew that they were nesting because Grant found remnants of the dinosaur eggs a while back, but they've somehow now managed to track them and found that they had essentially like a little hole, like a rabbit hole, where they were able to fit through. And yeah, as I said, they have found where the raptors have been nesting, and there are a lot of them. They're all in packs, and Grant can tell which dinosaurs belong to which packs, which is very interesting. And then what they realise is that the dinosaur senses are so attuned that when they're watching them, they are all reacting the same way, and they don't know why. That is until all the dinosaurs, as one, perk up and just run out of there. And so chasing the pack of raptors, Grant, Ellie and Gennaro make it on to the beach. So they've gone through these tunnels, made it onto the beach, and are still watching the raptors and trying to puzzle out what is going on. And that is when they notice a boat. And again, it says here, first the infants had been agitated, then the adults had noticed, and finally all the animals had stampeded to the beach. That sequence seemed to imply that the younger animals with keener hearing had detected the boat first. Then the adults had led the troop out onto the beach. And as Grant looked, he saw that the adults were in charge now. There was a clear spatial organisation along the beach, and as the animals settled down, it was not loose and shifting the way it had been inside. Rather, it was quite regular, almost regimented. The adults were spaced every 10 yards or so, each adult surrounded by a cluster of infants. The juveniles were positioned between and slightly ahead of the adults. And I love this because this is when they realise what is going on. It says, "Oh my god," Grant said. He stared at the raptors, ranged along the beach in a rigid formation, silently watching the boat, and he suddenly understood what he was looking at. "Those animals," Gennaro said, shaking his head. "They sure are desperate to escape from here." "No," Grant said. "They don't want to escape at all." "They don't?" "No," Grant said. they want to migrate. So like birds, the raptors want to migrate and leave the island, which is honestly so mind-blowing. It's crazy to see how intelligent they are and the way that they have this regimented stance as well. I just thought it was so interesting. What is sad now though is that of course the boat is there to rescue the humans, and that does happen. That's not the sad part. They manage to leave the island, and then unfortunately the army comes in and they decide to bomb Jurassic Park. So they are essentially killing all of the life sources on there and getting rid of every single dinosaur. Now of course there is a second book, so I'm guessing that that isn't all that successful. I will obviously have to read it and find out. But yeah, I don't know, that ending just made me really sad. I feel like after all that hard work, after all these scientific breakthroughs, after all the characters have experienced, the fact that the military are going there now to eradicate everything, it's not diminishing their experiences in any way, but it's just a rubbish outcome to what could have been absolutely amazing. Of course though, these animals were extinct for a reason. They were not meant to meet humans and be in the same world as humans, and that has been highlighted throughout this book. We've had many different warnings, we have had characters state it plainly, but again, because of the scientific breakthroughs and because of how insane the technology is and what they're doing is, and because of the money behind it, they decided to go ahead, and yeah, unfortunately this was the outcome. All in all, I really like this book. I don't think it's a full 5 stars for me. I think it's more of a 4 or a 4.5. I did have a good time with it. There were some things that went over my head, but the majority of this I loved. I feel like had I been in a better space mentally, I would have appreciated it a lot more, but I am currently battling a reading slump. I'm not wanting to read anything at the minute, and that's why it's taken me so long to actually get through this book. And not only that, I've been struggling with wanting to put myself on camera, so I've been putting off reading because I didn't want to film updates, which yeah, is a vicious cycle. Saying that though, I really hope you guys have enjoyed listening to my thoughts on this book. If you joined the book club, thank you so much. Please leave me your thoughts on the book down below. I would love to chat and discuss with you further. The book club pick for July is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, which I, again, am extremely excited to get to. I'm hoping that it's as much of a hit as Jurassic Park was, and I can't wait to once again film a spoiler-filled reading vlog of my experience reading that book. Again, if you would like to join the book club, I will have the link listed in the description box below, or you can go onto the Fable app and type in A World of Words and my book club will pop up. As I said, I can't thank everyone enough. The community on there is fantastic. I really love the process of reading the books, chatting to everyone on the chat rooms, and also putting my thoughts into the different spoiler sections as well. Especially by the end, I do tend to go back and reread everyone's thoughts, and yeah, it's honestly so lovely. If you have made it this far through into the video, I would like to let me know that you're still here. Please go ahead and leave me some dinosaur-related emojis, of course. I know I say it all the time, but seeing you guys comment the emoji of the video truly does mean the world to me. It blows me away that you guys watch these all the way through. So if you are still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. But that is it from me today, guys. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!